Hey Python learners, and welcome back. Have you ever used a program, maybe a game or an app that asks for your name, or maybe a calculator that shows you the answer? Ever wondered how computer programs talk to you and how you can talk back to them? How do they ask for information or show you results? Well, today we're going to learn exactly that. This is a super important first step in programming. We'll learn about two key Python tools. First, the print function, which lets your program show information on the screen. Second, the input function, which lets your program ask the user for information and wait for them to type something in. Knowing how to handle input and output is basic, but it's the key to making programs that actually do things with people. And just a quick note. For every lesson in this series, including this one, you'll find helpful resources linked in the video description below. This includes all the code snippets we use, a challenge exercise to test your skills, downloadable resources like cheat sheets, a key takeaway summary, and even a short quiz that gets automatically graded and shows your score right after you submit it. So definitely check those out after watching. Ready to make your programs talk? Let's dive in. All right, first up is showing things on the screen. In Python, the command or function we use for this is called print. It's super simple. To print some text, you just type print, then open parentheses, and inside those, put the text you want to show inside quotation marks, like this. Print hello world. This text inside quotes is called a string. When we run this, look, it prints hello world right to our screen or console. Easy, right? You can also print the value stored in a variable. Remember variables from our last lesson? They store information. So if I create a variable, say message equals Python is fun, I can then print the contents of that variable like this, print message. See, it prints the text that we stored in the message variable. What if you want to print multiple things at once? You can list them inside the print parentheses, separated by commas. For example, let's say name equals Alex and age equals 25. We can write print name, age. Notice that Python automatically puts a space between the items we listed. Now, that comma way works, but sometimes it gets messy. A newer and often cleaner way to mix text and variables in print is using something called f-strings. It sounds fancy, but it's easy. You just put the letter F before the opening quotation mark, and then inside the string, you put your variable names inside curly braces, like this. Print F, name, age. This often makes your code much easier to read, especially when you have lots of variables. We'll be using f-strings a lot. Okay, so we know how to make our program talk, but how do we get information from the user? For that, we use the input function. The basic way to use it is like this. Username equals input. When Python runs this line, it stops and waits. It shows a blinking cursor in the console waiting for the user, that's you, to type something and press enter. Whatever you type is then stored in the variable username, then we can print it to see. I typed Bob, pressed enter, and the program stored Bob in username and printed it. Now, just having a blinking cursor isn't very helpful. The user doesn't know what to type. We can make it user-friendly by putting a message inside the input parentheses. This message is called a prompt. It tells the user what you want them to enter. Let's try. Username equals input. Please enter your name. See? Much better. The program printed our prompt message, waited for me to type, and then continued. Now, here's the most important thing to remember about input. It always gives you back text, even if the user types numbers. In programming, we call text data a string. Let's prove it. I'll ask for age. Age s star equals input, enter your age. Then let's print the type of data stored in age star using print type age star. I type the number 30, but look, Python says the type is class str. That str stands for string. It sees 30 as text characters, not the number 30. Why does this matter? Because you can't do math with strings. If we want to treat the user's input as a number, we need to convert it. If we expect a whole number, we can convert the string to an integer using the int function, like this. Age num equals int age star. Now let's check the type of age num. Aha, now it says for integer. We can now do math with age num. We'll see exactly why this is needed in the coding section, and we'll talk a lot more about different data types and math in the next lesson. There's also float for numbers with decimal points. Theory is great, but let's write some code. Open your Python editor and follow along. Remember, if you want to copy the code snippets directly, they're available in the description below, along with all the other resources like the challenge, quiz, and cheat sheet. First, let's make a simple program that asks for the user's name and greets them. Ask the user for their name. The input at function shows the prompt and waits. Username equals input. What is your name? Now greet the user using an F string. We put the username variable inside the curly braces. Print F hello. Username, nice to meet you. Okay, let's run this. Perfect. It took my input and used it in the output message. Now let's see that string issue in action. Let's ask for the user's age and try to calculate their age next year. Ask for age. Age star equals input. How old are you? Try to calculate age next year. This will cause an error. Print, you entered age star. Print, let's try to calculate age next year. Next year age equals age star plus 1. Problem line. Print next year you will be next year age. I've typed age star equals input. How old are you? Now watch what happens if I try to just add 1 to age star like this. Next year age equals age star plus 1. Remember, input gives us a string. Let's uncomment that line and the print line and run it. Boom. Error. Look closely. Type error can only concatenate star, not int, to star. This message means we tried to add a number, int, to text, star, and Python doesn't know how to do that. It thinks we're trying to join text, not do math. So how do we fix it? We need to convert the string input into an integer before we do math. We use the int function. Ask for age. Age input equals input. How old are you? Get input as string. Convert the string input to an integer. Age num equals int, age input. Use int here. Now we can do math. Next year age equals age num plus 1. Print the result. Print f, okay, you are age num years old. Next year you will be next year age. See? I first get the input into age input, which is a string. Then I create a new variable age num by converting age input using int. Now age num holds the number and we can add 1 to it. Let's run this version. Yes, it worked perfectly. Remember int when you need a whole number from the user. Just a quick recap of common beginner mistakes. Forgetting to put a helpful prompt message inside input, and getting that type error because you forgot to convert the input string to a number using int before doing math. All right, let's put this together into a small project. We'll create a simple user profile collector that asks for a few pieces of information and then prints a summary. First, a nice welcome message. Print simple user profile collector. Print please answer the questions below. Now let's ask for the name. Name is text, so just input is fine. Username equals input. What is your name? Next, age. We want this as a number, so we need input and int. User age equals int, input, how old are you? Let's ask for their favorite hobby. This is text again. User hobby equals input. What is your favorite hobby? And maybe the city they live in. Also text. User city equals input. What city do you live in? Great, we've collected all the info. Now let's print a formatted summary using F strings. Print n, your profile summary. Makes a new line. Print f name, username. Print f age, user age. Print f city, user city. Print f enjoys, user hobby. Prints a line of 28 dashes for neatness. Print thank you for using the profile collector. Notice how we use F strings to easily include the variables we stored. That \n in the first print just adds an empty line before the summary, and dash times 28 is a little trick to print a separator line. Let's run the whole thing. Look at that. Our program asked questions, stored the answers, converting age to a number, and then printed a nice summary. We took input and produced structured output. Now it's time for you to practice. Here's your challenge. Write a small Python script. It should ask the user for their favorite food, then ask for their favorite drink. Finally, it should print one single sentence combining both inputs, exactly like this. So you like to eat food and drink drink? Sounds delicious? Replace food and drink with the user's actual input. Pause the video now, give it a try, and see if you can make it work. The full challenge text and maybe a hint are also in the description if you need a reminder. If you finish the challenge, awesome! Here are a few extra things to think about or try. What happens if you run the age part of our code again, but type hello instead of a number when it asks for your age? Try it. You'll get a different error, a value error. We'll learn how to handle errors like this later. If you need to get input that might have a decimal point, like a price, e.g. 4.99, or someone's height, you'd use float instead of int to convert the input string. Try using float input, enter a price. Play around with the prompt messages and input. How can you make them clearer for the user? Can you print the user profile summary all on one single line instead of multiple lines? Hint, you might need to explore print options or build one long F string. Great work today. Let's quickly recap. We learned how to show information using print, including how useful F strings are. We learned how to get information from the user using input, remembering that it always gives us a string, and we saw why we often need to convert that string to a number using int if we want to do calculations. So we can get input now, especially numbers. But what can we actually do with them? In the very next video, we'll dive into arithmetic and comparison operators. We'll learn how to do math like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and also how to compare values. Is one number bigger than another? Is something equal? This is essential for making programs that can calculate things and make decisions. Before you go, make sure to check out the video description one last time. You'll find links to all the code snippets from today, the full challenge description, a downloadable cheat sheet summarizing input and output, a key takeaways list, and that quick quiz to test your understanding. Remember, it gives you your score instantly. If you found this helpful, please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe for more Python lessons, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss the next one. Keep coding, and I'll see you in the next lesson.